Okay, so here I'm going to do a sort of a pseudo-react session where I'm not really going to react to stuff as much as just almost try to decide and make a list of stuff to react to. So one of the things that was on my list was the fact of one of the things that I said I was going to react to, and I thought it was already available to do, is that Send Help movie as like a premise picture similar to The Housemaid, kind of the way at least I interpret them. Even just the name would indicate that. Like they're, here's the premise and you just run with it, right? Like it's not really, not saying that they have to be bad, but they seem like, oh, here's this premise is very easy to get behind, and then we may or may not go anywhere more nuanced with it, right? And often at surface level. So The Housemaid was pretty bad, actually. I can use that as an example of like just, it's a 2-star. The only thing that really saves it is Amanda's acting and certain minor little other things that are maybe a bit unexpected, but they almost don't even matter, and they're kind of dumb, right? That's like one of those things. Oh, I didn't see the twist coming that the wife is actually a clown too, and she went through all this elaborate thing just to deal with the husband who, oh, apparently he's so rich and powerful, and it's like one of those Me Too movement type things where I can sympathize, again, obviously with anybody, you're a victim of something, you shouldn't go through that, but you can't take this sort of submissive victim approach, right? Like somebody does something that extreme, like if it's me, like I'll put myself in that situation. The guy locked me in a room and made me pull my hair out, but I still stay after that. Like you say, oh, it's for the daughter or something. Like, fuck no, dude. I don't care about any, like, first of all, it exercises bad judgment twice. Let's be victim blamer. That she not only had that kid with somebody who's no longer with her, and she, did all that, chasing clout in college, as a college professor, whatever it was, right? So that's bad judgment count 1. Then bad judgment count 2 is the next guy you end up with. Like, forget about her turning into some sort of renegade housemaid for other people. It's such a stupid premise. Like, think about that ending. Isn't that the goofiest thing ever? Like, oh, now Sydney Sweeney's become a superhero, renegade, murderer, who's going to take out abusive husbands because, oh, apparently our legal system is that fucked up that they can't do it themselves. Which, again, I get it. There are certain privileges, but in the modern day, especially, you have cameras, you have recorders. Couldn't you just secretly that would have been the easiest way. You play along with it, but then you secretly record something and you say, oh, maybe the husband is on top of that, he'll notice. But is he really going to know, like, have some hidden camera one time, catch a conversation of him doing one thing, right? Put a hidden camera in that room or something, right? Like, he's not that sharp that he's going to catch every little thing. And so that's what at least I would do. Okay, fine, we'll play the long game, but not that long like she did, where, okay, we'll play along with it for a little bit, but I'll get some evidence on you from being here in all that time. There's got to be something you can get, some implements, some again, all these premises are less believable in the modern day. You have cameras, you have phones, you have recorders, you have a secret little nanny cam, you have, like, there's no way that he's going to account for all that all the time, especially if you're playing along and he falls for this elaborate plan, I guess, but it's just so dumb. So she goes through all that, and then right, like, you'll say it's for the daughter, but, like, I'll just say it explicitly. Her judgment is bad in men, evidently very bad in men. But as soon as he makes me pull the hair out and I leave the room, I'm gone. I'm not staying there. I know you want to, say about the daughter, I'll keep fighting in court or something, but I am not staying with that dude after that. Like, I don't care. Like, you can say, oh, that's cold and you're doing it for the daughter, but honestly, I'll say you're a bit of a clown, and I will victim blame hard here, because you had that kid because you were young and you didn't know what you're doing, and you're kind of a stupid stimuli acme preserver, and you're probably chasing clout and benefits from your professor, but now you don't want to be held accountable for that, oh, it's a mistake, or oh, feel bad for me, right? You shouldn't have done it. It's your choice, your fault, take responsibility. Now you chase clout through a rich guy to take care of you. And, you know, so in that sense, she is a little crazy. There's even that dialogue at the end that really annoyed me on that basis, like, oh, what are you going to do without me, kind of a thing, that she's like financially dependent on him. Yes, of course, the age where women are so financially dependent on men that they put up with abuse and making them rip their hair out, and like, really, like, this is the extent of, but that's how some people are kind of conditioned to think, like somehow, oh yeah, it's okay. And let's just be honest, that's the real reason. That's the real reason for a lot of these things, for better or for worse. Like, why does abuse happen, or why is it put up with? Sometimes you can't help it, like you're a child or something and people don't believe you, and I get it, but again, that's like financial dependency, where otherwise you could just run away. So for children and stuff like that, I can certainly understand. But with even relationships, like, oh, why did you put up with your abusive boyfriend or husband for years? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just leave? You won't admit it, or whatever, society will frame it differently, but, oh, because you were financially dependent on them, right? Like, as if that should be the basis of a relationship in the first place. So here, I'll solve all abuse ever. Never be in a relationship on the basis of that financial dependency, right? So separate your finances, never, that's not what it's about, right? It's about the tenderness and the love and the sexual thing and whatever. So if you separate those two, what happens? Now that doesn't become an issue. Now there's no privilege of like, oh, I'm paying for dinner, who pays the check, right? And there's also no issue of that, like, oh, I put up with this because of that dependency. But you wouldn't have been dependent in the first place, because as I just said, don't create that as a dependency, but it's just too easy, right? Don't let that be a factor in a relationship, but it's really one of the main factors. So people try to dress it up, but, you know, pseudo-prostitution way that society grooms people and stuff like that. But what's really interesting about that is the fact that, again, that would solve it, and then the other side of it is also sort of celebrity. They're like, oh, weirdly enough, and again, I'm not bashing the outcome, but I'm saying, you know, whatever, there's famous people and they can get away with certain things. That's part of the risk, or at least it's perceived. But the reason why people are associating with them and around them in the first place is because they're famous. It's like, oh, I'm trying to chase clout through some celebrity. And then again, that doesn't justify anything negative that they do, but it just means it's just twofold. The whole reason why you're with them or pursuing them is because they're a celebrity, and then the whole reason why they partly can get away with it, arguably, is because they are a celebrity too, supposedly. But yeah, this notion of normalizing, like the message of that is so bad too. Like, oh, we need to do this elaborate vigilante female weird thing because we can't just deal with it directly, because again, he's successful or whatever. But like even getting a divorce or something like that you should have gotten like half the money. They're trying to portray her as crazy. He might be drugging her, but I don't know. Something about that is just dumb. Right? Like you create. Just remember, everything in life is a choice and like self-created. You create these situations. So like this false victimization too is like, treat relationships like a luxury, not a necessity, right? Okay, you're independent, you're strong, you take care of yourself, and now you go out and you look for somebody to be with, and then if anything goes wrong, you can have a short fuse. Like, right, I always use this example of somebody who's like, they have plenty of options. They can break up with you the next day and they're fine. Like, because their whole life isn't based around that relationship, or they don't rely on you or depend on you. So if you, let's say you do something very bad, like you physically hit them, and now they're a self-respecting person who's independent, they don't need you, they're gone, right? I could portray that very easily. Like, you hit them once and you apologize, like, no, that's it, it's over, it's gone. Like, and they can do that because, again, there's no dependency, and it's not the most important thing in their life, it's just something they're doing, right? So that's another way to look at it. Even if you are a stimuli acme preserver, half-mass hedonist, like the way that society programs you to be, it's just not that big of a deal. yeah, that movie was really, really dumb. I just can't even believe it. Like, feels like one of those TV movie Lifetime type, just so kind of, even though you can say, oh, you might not predict the exact twist or the exact way it goes, it just feels like it doesn't matter. Like, I almost just didn't care, right? A bunch of stupid... That's almost how I feel about certain stories. Like, a bunch of stupid people do a bunch of stupid things, and I don't sympathize with any of them, except for the wife a little bit briefly, but then I realize she's a clown too, because honestly, all this elaborate, insane thing is like, you could have probably gotten a nice divorce settlement anyway, or you could have probably gotten all kind of shit. Again, film the guy in the modern day. It's not like you're short on those kind of resources. Right, the modern day, you have... She was, like, free to go out and do what she does, right? Like, she would go out and she'd go shopping, and she wasn't, like, being imprisoned or something. Right, it's only because of the daughter she, like, chose to stay, which, again, not a very good rationalization. If it means you're getting horribly abused, there's got to be some better way to deal with that. Try to get a sneak recording, try to get something else. Try to, and that's like an interesting psychology of the guy, right? The husband is like, when people do things, they don't believe they're wrong themselves, but they believe they're wrong enough to other people that they hide them still. It's kind of like, right, that's the rationale you have to have for certain things. So he must feel right in what he's doing, that he, puts the women up in the attic and stuff like that. But then he also isn't so self-righteous about it that he thinks, oh, he can just openly show that, because he knows the consequence of it. So it's kind of like, you know how other people would react, but you just disagree, or you don't take it seriously, or you don't care, or you feel like you can get away with it. But that's always an interesting part of human psychology, is like, people could say this with light Yagami, like, oh, if what he's doing is right, then why does he hide it? Right? Like, he's killing criminals 99% of the time, and he's making the world a better place, and reducing crime, and, doing something effectively that the government does anyway, just without the death penalty as much. But, like Aizawa says, oh, people are only afraid of losing their own lives. Well, as opposed to people only being afraid of getting arrested or something, right? So it's the same thing. But, some subjective person who holds a lot of that power, presidents, and etc. But the thing is that it's like light is intelligent and self-aware enough to know, like, okay, I know how other people will react, but that doesn't mean that they're right. It just means that, right, I have to account for that. So it's two separate things, right? It doesn't validate them that, like, oh, the fact that he's hiding makes him bad, but, right, like, Batman has to hide his identity because society is like that, where it's not just about whether what you're doing is positive or negative. It's about that level of freedom and control is not allowed, right, by society, by power structures. Like, they want to have that all for themselves, even if they're doing a worse job and you're kind of showing them up and doing their job for them better, right? This is what I mean, that, it's very, very telling. So yeah, we could do movies, or I could do shows. Shows would be good because I could, like, really get immersed in an episode by episode basis without needing to, and then I was trying to make a little Hearthstone miniseries or something on here where, apparently for these type of sessions, using the computer was not very good. I really don't know why. I tried it with the hardwire. Maybe I'll try it on Wi-Fi, but I think I maybe did try it on that too. That's so weird that the phone would work better than that, at least on the mobile data, so maybe that's just better. And now I'll try it on the phone on Starlink, which may or may not be good. And then I have an Ethernet adapter for the phone too, which I could use with the Starlink no less, Right, but I mean, I could do either or. I should try both. Because the problem with that is, okay, that mobile data wasn't bad, but it's going to have limits, right? It's a Spectrum thing that has like a 50 gigabyte cap thing, which again, I'm not always going to be using that. Like most of the time I'm using the Starlink anyway. So that could last me a reasonable amount of time, but yeah, I just don't even know what to react to. I could almost rewatch stuff I've already seen, but I don't want to do that. I could do like a random, I should do like a multi-tier thing. Where like first I decide what category of thing to watch, like anime or where like I'll make a list, random list generator. It'll be anime, movie, TV show, like live action type TV show, maybe documentary, maybe something else. And then of those, then I'll put in a whole bunch of random things to choose from as well. So list, randomizer. So here, I'll put in like 5 categories. Yeah, I'm even trying to apply my Absolutist philosophy label to these type of things, because that's what a lot of these discussions turn into. Because let's not just use mindless escapism here. Let's actually get to something deeper and applicable, like what is actually the meaning of it, or how can we apply it in real life, or what does it reflect or reveal about life, right? A little deeper that level than what we typically see, but. Okay, list randomizer, and what I'll do is, again, we'll put anime, right, it could be Japanese, could be a cartoon show, like whatever, anything like that. Number 2 could be movies. Number 3 could be TV show. Number 4 could be like some sort of like I'll consider documentary or something similar to that. Like either documentary or like a series, like just serious YouTube videos of like some guy giving a speech or some guy doing something political or debate or stuff like that. Documentary or serious subject matter. And then the next one will be kind of on the flip side of that. It'll be something goofy, like a reality TV show, like Impractical Joker type thing, or a prank videos and like stupid, let's watch a let's play of somebody else, right? So those are the 5 categories. Anime, which could be anything, Japanese cartoons, American cartoons, whatever, right? Movie could be just any movie in existence. TV can be TV shows, generally dramas, whatever. Documentary category is a little broad. It's like actual documentaries, or it could be, again, like a serious discussion, speeches, debates, analysis, things like that. So more like serious videos. And then reality show would be again, like Impractical Joker stuff or prank videos on YouTube or whatever. So we'll randomize the list now, and we get documentary at the top. So again, I could react to a serious type videos or an actual documentary or something. Let's watch Zeitgeist. Let me look through my YouTube. I could watch the Jodi Arias trial, which that is somewhat, I'd almost consider that more in the reality prank type thing, because even though it's a serious case, it's just so funny to watch that. Or yeah, my battery on this thing is probably gonna die pretty soon. The little battery that I use for the Starlink, they last a decent amount of time, but I mean, this thing really is a fiend when it comes to energy use. Like, it's not the easiest thing to do. Right, like if you're out camping or something, like, okay, this battery will last you like 2 to 3 hours. So you either got to keep unplugging it, or you got to only use it when you really need it. Yeah, maybe I should just look up, like, okay, best documentaries of all time. Which, I don't know, actually, what would we consider that? But no, I could randomize it too. Like, okay, I'll take the 5 best documentaries of all time, and then it'll randomly choose between them for me. All the Empty Rooms, Inside Job. Yeah, let's make one about the Epstein files, but Citizen 4 is like the dude, Julian Assange, I think. I don't think I've seen any of these really, but I kind of dislike the way documentaries are made often, is that they try to sensationalize and be entertaining, but it's like one or the other. Either you're just information based, give us the information objectively, period, or don't, but like the middle ground, if they're trying to build certain things up or make it out to be more than what it is. 100 best reviewed documentaries of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes I don't like to look at these kind of things either, because then it gives you like preconceived notions about them before you've seen them. So Man on Wire, I have heard about that one many, many times. I don't remember if I've seen it or not. Summer of Soul, I Am Not Your Negro, and then Fire of Love, and then 20 Feet from Stardom. Oh yeah, what was that one movie I kept saying I kept seeing ads for? I forget when. Maxine or whatever with the triple X. That seemed like a premise picture type thing too. Life Itself I should almost watch, because obviously Roger Ebert, much respect. Flea, Inside Job, Murder Ball. That sounds like a James Bond title. Murder Ball. That's awesome. It's like I could watch like the Life Itself thing, or I could watch. I just want to see that Maxine thing. This is how I should decide. Like, see, I didn't go in with any preconceived notion, but it's kind of like, you know, you just kind of come up with it as you go. And so, yeah, maybe next session we could do that. I'll watch some like warm-up videos of like some of the best moments of Gene Siskel debating. There's some awesome videos on YouTube that are like compilations, or even just a lot of their reviews that are pretty funny. Roper and Ebert and Siskel and Ebert. So we can watch some of those, of which I've seen a lot, and then we could actually watch The Life Itself, and then I could watch, those should be the next two. So this is decided. And Maxine, even though that wasn't part of the documented category, just for some reason I want to see that. But sometimes it's best to go into something with no preconceived notions about like the reviews or anything, not really knowing what it's about, not really knowing the reception, so you can just decide for yourself, because of course people are very impressionable that way. yeah, those are a couple good options here. The problem with documentaries is twofold, though. It can be like a fluff piece. It can be like propaganda. It can be like, again, romanticized stuff. It can be, like, it's tough. There's a lot of bias in it in a way that other movies wouldn't necessarily have, right? Where a movie doesn't have to have, like my old expression goes, a portrayal is not an endorsement. You could make a documentary about somebody considered evil, like Putin or something now, but you can still be objective about it, or, but it'll be framed a certain way depending on where it's made and stuff like that. You can just tell the story. It doesn't have to be positive or negative, right? If you accurately report something, the negative would speak for itself. So we would interpret like, oh, look at all his actions that he did that you're accurately reporting with no spin. We consider those negative in our opinion, and that would be our conclusion. But you wouldn't lead with that. You wouldn't say, oh, look at this dictator, look at this whatever, even if that accurately describes it, I guess you could say. But it's just different. There's a lot of spin that goes on. So even like here, it could be like a fluff piece, like, oh, we're gonna fluff up Roger Ebert or something. So no, I have become like a full mobile streamer, at least. Like, even now I'm trying to play stuff on there because it seems awkward to do the thing. I'm trying to test it in a way that's like very convenient here. And the audio seemed to be pretty good with that, like, just through the mic. So the game audio was playing through the mic, and the I was just talking through it. So yeah, we've already decided on some things. Again, I'll just kind of do that next time. I could watch some of that Ebert, Roper type thing. Trying to think like what are some of the funniest reviews, or it's more so like funny moments in certain reviews, but I always thought The Good Son was kind of a bad review by them because they sort of they take sort of a weird moralizing approach where they say like, oh, how could a kid be doing this, or how could Macaulay Culkin take this role, like not pertaining to whether it's a good movie or not, which I don't think is that good of a movie anyway, but it doesn't matter because, right, the nature of their criticism is something different, like just that, oh, this movie just shouldn't have been made, right? You don't get to say that. You could just say it should be made better for what it's trying to do, or better for in terms of its technical aspects. But how can you say that? Like, Super Size Me, I remember that one. Where you try, that's like my life. I should just do an IRL documentary. If I IRL stream, it would be the modern day of Super Size Me, because that's literally have fast food all the time, but not quite to that same extent. But and what did he do? Did he go to like the same McDonald's over and over because then they'd catch wind of it? Or, and like, I'll defend it in a way, like nobody's saying that you should do that, right? It's called fast food for a reason. I don't know if McDonald's maybe they did make a claim like that and that's what he was clowning them, but I don't think McDonald's would necessarily say that yes, you should eat every meal ever of your whole life here, breakfast, lunch, dinner, every day, all the time. I don't think they would say that, right? And if everybody did that, that would overwhelm them even more than they're already so popular. So, no, it's like, okay, once a week, you get it. When you're busy, you're in a hurry, you don't have time, you're picking up the kids from school, you get a snack, right? Like that kind of way is what I would approach it at, like how I would say it. Right, it's not meant to be something you have every single day, all day. So, does it have flaws? Does it have issues? Obviously. And should you ideally not eat it? Yes, but it doesn't mean that you're assuming that. It's like what people say with Uber or Lyft or something, like, do it as like a full-time job. but nobody's really saying you should do it as a full-time job, right? Like, it could be meant for just supplementary income and stuff like that, right? You don't necessarily rely on it. Some people do that, but I don't know. Yeah, that's one of my least watched genres, probably, is documentaries. You could argue, like, wait a second, you're saying movies and then documentaries, but you could fit them in the same category. But basically, the way I was doing it was that I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I'll try to do another Hearthstone stream just to kind of test this on the Starlink later. But I have like 2 of these batteries now, so when I'm using one, I'm charging the other, but it's just hard to do because they take forever to charge. It takes like 12 hours, for at least from empty, which maybe I shouldn't let it get to empty, but Ebert can sometimes get emotional about stuff, and he did make some clown takes on certain movies that were like, that are very well regarded. Like he says, I don't know, like, let me think. I don't know, there's some well-known, like really well-regarded movies that he would give negative reviews, or even Siskel did that too, like Silence of the Lambs he criticizes, he gives a thumbs down basically, or even the Taxi Driver. That's one of the funniest things ever. He says like Taxi Driver is too violent of a movie, right? Gene Siskel, when the whole movie has literally one scene of violence in the whole thing, and the whole movie is this build-up, right? There's no violence throughout the whole thing except for he shoots the one guy who's robbing the store, which that's very tame and like quick and to the point. You can say, oh, the standards back then were different, but like there's one big scene of violence at the end, but that's the payoff of the whole build-up of the whole movie. So it's like, oh, this movie is too violent, but there's only one scene of violence in the movie, so I don't understand that. Yeah, like Blue Velvet, he is a really stupid review by Ebert. I'm not even crazy about the movie myself. I do think it's overrated, but he says like this, oh, I see Isabella Rossellini getting embarrassed on the yard or something, and I get emotional, and then therefore the movie is bad. Like, it doesn't even make sense from that perspective, because like a lot of the time it's the intent of it that I don't get. Right, it's like they criticize maybe The Thing or something, where it's like, oh, this thing is so grotesque, therefore the movie's bad, right? Oh, this